A couple of months ago, I recorded a video, and it was called The Aether in Vanilla Minecraft. And today, I decided to attempt a 100-day challenge in the Aether in Vanilla Minecraft. Also, if you happen to like the video, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe. Don't forget to follow my socials, my Instagram, my Twitter, and all else. Enjoy the video. The first 1 to 10 days were hard. I gathered wood for a shelter on my first day, and most of all, there's a bastion connected to another island, totally separate from the island I was standing on. From that bastion, I gathered bones, gold, and all the sorts, found in a bastion, and built a house. The house was sturdy. I made a door. The next day started sadly with a death by an enderman. And the rest of the day working on the bastion, as I had an idea of transforming it. I did a bit of some mining and decided to end the 10 first days. The sun was shining and everything was nice. Went to the bastion, went to go mining some blocks, chopped down some trees, cleaned up the place, and that was pretty much it. Earlier, I had discovered a patch of, you guessed it, mushrooms. And I'm very glad to say I harvested these mushrooms and used them for mushroom stew. I happily grew both mushroom types and gathered some wood to craft some bowls. This happily provided me a while, and I went on preparing the bastion. The bastion was sort of my main goal. Since there was no ender dragon, there is no stronghold, and there is no nether. So I decided to gather everything and repair the bastion. I also removed some disorganized blocks to make it more organized, and happened to die by a zombified piglin. I continued on with my repairs on the bastion, and I'm happy to say I got a lot done, a lot of progress, a lot of fixing up. Grew some more mushroom trees to gather more mushrooms, and I went on to finish some more repairs on the bastion. It was also on one of these days that I decided to patch up the bottom so I wouldn't fall through the holes. I finished my patchwork and my repairs were coming along great, and decided to make the rooms much better looking, as they looked a little too weird. But I also decided that that might be another project, so I went on and repaired the floors of the bastion. There was about 4 stories, and so I had to repair 4 floors. I then gathered wood, as it was needed for the top floor. The project was coming along fine, and I started having fun with the designs. It was looking a little more like it used to be, or what we all would suppose it would look like a million years ago, but it's looking good. It was still in its infancy. Days, nights, rolled on. I didn't have a bed, and every time it would become night, I would have to stay and stuff. The progress on the project came along great. Endermen were really annoying. I started mining some blocks that weren't supposed to be there, placing blocks that were supposed to be there, and all the sorts. Work became haste. I gathered mushrooms, and most of all made some mushroom stew, which I happily ate. In fact, going into this challenge, I thought I would have to eat rotten flesh this entire time. On the dawn of day 50, I was just spying around, until all of a sudden I accidentally caught the eye of an Enderman. And that's how it ended. Day 51 to 100. Day by day I worked harder and harder and harder until I got what I wanted. And I never really got anything that I wanted. I cleared some trees, I built some more, chopped down some more mushrooms, and all the sorts. And I died, sadly, with all my mushrooms and bone meal. So I worked some more on the bastion. I made the last bit of stew, and I finally found a bunch of striders. If you know Minecraft that well, you know that striders actually drop string, and string makes wool. So that's a way to make a bed. So I decided to take my warped fungi and push them in there, and decided to breed them and make a bed. Days passed, and there's some signs of life. I fed them, and I died from an Enderman. I made their little hole a bigger hole so that I can breed more. And once the herd was all big, I decided to slay them. And I got their string, and I made a bed out of them. And I was so happy. Didn't even know that I had created one whole bed with only 2 striders. I was happy. And I put my bed in the bastion so I wouldn't have to go back and forth and back and forth. And finally, for the first time, it turned night, and I finally went to sleep, quickly turning into morning. I was happy. I was dreadfully happy. The next few days were spent working on the roof of the bastion, and I steadily built the walls of the bastion too. And since there was no glass, I left holes in the wall. I finished with the roof. Several days later, I found a wandering trader. And I knew it was useless, so I decided to gather some ropes, and I got into a lot of trouble with them llamas. Then once more I continued on with my work. Several days passed, and I happened to have a skeleton, the skeleton of the roof. Now throughout this time, I went off camera, and I died a couple times, and I improved my build, and I am happy to say that it looks all good. I also made a couple structures and went on.